Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 88 of How Do You Write? It is May 18th, 2018, and I'm your host, Rachael Herron. I am so glad you're here. I know I say that every time, but I really, really am. I think you've probably picked up on that by now. Today I'm talking to the awesome Nathan Van Coops, who is a writer that I met at the Sell More Books Show Summit in Chicago. You may have heard him on the now defunct Simon Whistler's Rock and Sell Publishing podcast. He's been on there a couple times. And I mentioned this in the interview, I think, that when I would look off the stage there, often to my left, he was always leaning forward with this super eager look on his face. Like he was just absorbing everything, listening to everything, and just there for it, you know. I was super excited to meet him. He is compelling and smart and funny. You're gonna love this interview. I'm gonna keep the intro short. As you can hear, I am sick. I finally caught a cold after 3 countries and 3 trips. So hey, I ain't even complaining. Finally got me. So just a couple of business little things. I'd like to thank my new patrons who both names are going to be really fun to say. John Rindfleisch the Ninth pledged, and I almost hope that's a real name because I'd love to know a ninth. So thank you, John. And the second person is Orna Ross, pledged to my Patreon, and I'm kind of like all fangirl about it. The things that she does for the Authors Alliance is incredible. She's in the UK. I love listening to her podcasting. I think she just knows pretty much everything. Put her and Joanna Penn together, and they do know everything about the industry. So thank you, Orna. If you would like to visit my Patreon and see what I'm doing over there with the essays that I put out, that's patreon.com/Rachel, Rachael. And I am always so appreciative. I'm appreciative every day for you guys. I'm appreciative to those of you who don't want to pony up and who just listen for free, because you guys are awesome too. It's amazing that we can come together in this medium, and that I can put my stuffed up voice in your ear, and that you accept it and you keep listening. So thank you for that. The only publishing news that I have is that my agent just sent me an email this morning, like 1 minute ago. I read it, that said just a little bit more work on the thriller. In which case I just want to die. But she said it's very easy. They're technical things. I'll be able to fix it real quick. And then we're going to talk about, in this phone call that we're going to have in a minute, we're also going to talk about what do you call it? The plan to push it out. I'm so dumb right now. What do you call it? Submission plan. That's what you call it. The submission plan. So, hopefully that's moving. I'm excited about that. And I feel a sneeze building, so I'm going to jump off. Please enjoy Nathan Van Coops. I know you will. He is a charmer. Enjoy. I hope that you get your writing done. Get a little bit done. Tell me about it. Hit me up on Facebook or Twitter or email, anywhere. I would love to hear from you. Okay. Happy writing to you. Okay. Well, I could not be more pleased, y'all, to welcome to the show Nathan Van Coops. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Rachel. Thanks for having me.
I was just like 2 minutes ago on your Book Faces live page, which was such a fun interview. And if anybody wants to go listen to that, that was really fun. I was on Facebook live with Nathan.
Did it?
Did it?
Totally
It's
did it.
Done. And let me give you a little bit of an introduction. Nathan Van Coops lives in St. Petersburg, Florida, on a diet comprised mainly of tacos, which I can firmly get behind. I am from Oakland. We are taco truck central. He enjoys old planes, motorcycles, and Volkswagens, and contends that there is such a thing as dressy flip-flops. He is the author of the time travel adventure series In Times Like These, and the young adult steampunk adventure series The Skylighter Adventures. You can learn more at nathanvancoops.com. And welcome!
Thank you.
So pleased to have you. We met at the Sell More Books Show Summit.
We did, and it was a lot of fun, and you were so full of knowledge. I just couldn't wait to talk to you some more.
That's so awesome. What was your favorite thing about being in Chicago at that conference?
I think it's just this wonderful opportunity to meet people face to face, and it's just that because as much as you like people online, like you're only seeing the part of them that they're willing to show online.
Yes.
Whereas
Yes.
when you meet someone in person and actually, go grab a bite to eat with them, it's just, you get this a deeper view into who they are and how they function behind the brand that they are as an author or whoever it is they're presenting online. And I just like being privy to that. It's a lot of fun and sharing that myself.
It's truly a three-dimensional, literally experience, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and before we even chatted, I remember seeing you when I was up on the stage looking down into the audience, and your face was just so engaged. And you were really listening, and you're kind of leaning forward, and I could just tell that you were really, really there and very present. And so I was like, who is that guy?
I
So,
love this stuff. Like I love being a writer. Like I love to go, and I'm kind of an extrovert. You know, I have introverted tendencies, but I'm definitely overwhelmingly an extrovert most of the time. And it's just like, so it's like being around people that are also excited just fills me up. You know, so
yeah.
I'm thinking, man, this is a whole bunch of knowledge and people that I just, I'm excited to be around everybody. So it was just a fun time.
Kenneth on 30 Rock once said, I only like two things, television and everybody. I always flash back to that. I am an introvert. I'm solidly an introvert, but with some extroverted tendencies, especially when I have alcohol, which I'm not having now. Well, let's get right into it. I would love to talk about your writing process for our listeners. What is your writing process? How do you do it?
So it relates to tacos, as mentioned in my intro. I have, I'm full-time self-employed, but I've got two different jobs. One is in aviation. So I fortunately, because I'm self-employed, I'm able to just sort of schedule my own time during the week, which is great. So I'll schedule aviation stuff in the morning. But then what I do is I give myself a really nice long, like 3-hour lunch break, where I go and I take my dog and we go to a taco place and we order some tacos and then we hang out and then we sit there and I write for, a couple hours at least, and just try to get, and this is part of the extrovert. This is me going somewhere that's out and about, but I'm also, maybe I'll have my headphones in, maybe I'll just be sitting there. I have the opportunity to meet people,
Yeah.
but I don't have to. I could just sit there and write, and it's just a wonderful way for me to be kind of out of the house, but
Yeah.
also getting work done. And so that's one of my ways that I write. And then I usually have a second wave. My wife and I are sort of on opposite schedules where she goes to bed early and I'm up late. I'm kind of a night owl. So then I'll have a few more hours in the evening where it's just me and I'm able to think a little bit more creatively at night. I feel like my brain works a little bit different when the day is winding down and I'm getting ready for sleep. The sort of pre-dreaming phase, I think, is where I do my most creative thinking. And if I don't capitalize on it, the next morning I'm back to being efficient, and living my day, and I have a day ahead of me, and it's a different mental space. So I try to capitalize on that evening time where the day is behind me, and I can be creative and let myself loose. So.
I always have a little bit of jealousy when I hear people say that, because I think that us early morning writers it feels prosaic and coffee driven, whereas there's this whole romantic idea of the late night. One of my best friends, Carrie Luna, she writes at night, and just this image of the whole world sleeping around you, but you're up late, and it's so cool. Now let's go back. Go on.
Yeah. I was gonna say it feels a little bit illicit too, because you're supposed to be doing something else. Sleeping.
Yes.
You're supposed to be sleeping, but you can't, and because you have to get this idea
Because you're being creative. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I got to do this now while it's hot and feels good in my head. Like I've got to get it on the page before it vanishes.
Whereas I write, at 6 a.m. and the cats are crying and just, I've spilled the coffee and that's all, and it's light out and the garbage trucks are going. But I want to go back to tacos for a second. Do you go to the same stand every day?
No, I'm definitely a creature of habit where I kind of hit the same place every Monday or every Tuesday. I do that's part of the extrovert part. I like to get to know the people who are giving me the tacos and know their names, and I'm a repeat visitor, so I like to really get to know the people.
What's your favorite kind of taco?
I'm a vegetarian, so I eat all kinds of veggie tacos.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of different, which narrows the field a little bit. You have to go to places that can make a good veggie taco, because you can't just take meat out of something and expect it to be good. You have to put something else in. You have to show some effort.
Yeah.
So for me, a place that makes a good veggie taco or veggie enchilada or veggie burrito is is a winner for me.
There's a place in San Francisco that makes like I'm a carnivore, but when we
Mm.
go to this is our favorite burrito place, and we get the veggie burrito, and they grill the tortilla with the cheese on it, and then
Mm.
fill it, and they use an entire half avocado for every one, and it's
Ooh, yeah.
freaking divine. So does the dog get a taco?
He does not. He's a dog food only dog, but
Okay,
he gets lots of attention, and
that's
he
super.
loves being out because he's a really happy dog, and people. He has a very smiley, happy face, so
Oh,
people come up to him all the time. Little kids just wander up and swarm him, and he loves the attention.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
What is your biggest challenge when it comes to writing?
definitely time
Yeah.
because of the fact that I do juggle multiple things, and I have to find time to do run an entire author business without the time to run an entire author business. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm always struggling with a 10 item to-do list, knowing that I only am ever going to get 3 things done. So that's the constant struggle
Yeah.
of kind of the part-time entrepreneur. Like, and sometimes when I, have cancellations in my other job, it's actually a happy day because like, oh, good, I can focus the entire day on writing today.
Yeah.
And, so it's a balancing act, but it has made me concentrate on my priorities and really focus in on the aspects of the writing business that are essential. And that may mean that some things I will just never get to. There may be some things that I will, never get done, but
I
it's,
hate that feeling.
yeah, I know.
Do you
It's a
use any app or time tracker or list maker that you like?
I've recently tried using a productivity journal, which is kind of fun, where it makes you highlight the primary goal of your day, and then it gives you some other secondary goals. But you can't do those until you've done your primary goal. Like it makes you really strict. It gives you a little inspirational quote of the day, and then it kind of
Huh.
makes you focus in advance and plan your day around your priorities. And I think
Is this an app or is it a physical journal?
it's a physical journal
And it's
that you
called the
can.
Productivity
The
Journal?
productivity journal, yep. And I think it was maybe crowdfunded online. I think my wife found out about it through some YouTube videos. She was watching a couple that created this thing, and it's very helpful. It kind of makes you, it works in conjunction with the Pomodoro method. So it kind of has you itemize out your day and then kind of predict how many 25-minute increments of effort it's going to take to do that job. And then you sort of rate yourself at the end of the day. How'd you do? How productive were you on a scale of 1 to 10? What could you have done better? And
Oh
it
my
makes
gosh,
you kind of
that's
analyze your
awesome.
day, think, okay, this was this was a 6 day, but I got a lot done. What could I do? And then it makes you think about the next day. And I'm not a strict adherent to the method because it doesn't exactly fit my life, but
Hmm.
it's very helpful. Just the idea of sitting down 5 minutes in the morning, planning a little bit, and then sitting down 5 minutes at the end of the day and looking back
Yeah.
and thinking, how did it go? Did I accomplish my goals? And then just those little 5 minute windows can be very helpful.
I'm good. I'm drooling. I'm gonna try it. I'm a big Bujo girl, the bullet journal,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's cool. What is your biggest joy in writing?
My biggest joy is definitely the relationships that I have built through this business. And it's a relationship with the readers, it's a relationship with other authors, but primarily the readers, because it's so cool that it's a job where people send you emails and messages and tell you how much they appreciate what you're doing. It's like, we get reviews, it's like getting applause, for your job.
Yes.
Like how many jobs are there out there where people like just write you messages and just be like, hey, this thing you did that you took years to do, it really worked and it changed my life in some
Oh,
way that you would never have known,
it's the best.
and that's so cool.
And we get it
So
and we get it verbally. Like we get it in
yeah,
words in the way that we understand. Like I was just thinking about what you said, the whole applause idea. Sorry, dogs.
yeah,
Applause doesn't say anything. It says I
right.
validate you. But
Hmm.
people use their real words and tell you what they did.
Yeah, and they put it in writing where it's
Yeah.
like where other people can see it.
Do you remember the like do you have a specific piece of adulation that you got that you really loved? An early one or something that really meant a lot to
Um,
you?
there are some certain reviews that I've sort of copied and kind of quoted other places and things like that, and um, I come back to those sometimes where it's like, hey, this is going to help me keep me going later, which
Yeah.
is good. So yeah, there's definitely a few that have definitely made an impact on me. And there's been some. I have an email folder of nice emails that
Yes.
people have sent that I want to save.
Yep.
That
I do too.
I'll come back to eventually.
I
Yep.
call them my mash notes,
Mm,
and I've never opened them yet.
yeah.
I just collect them there because on the worst day ever, when I am failed,
Mm,
completely failed, I fail all the time as a writer, but when I'm completely failed, I'm going to open that and I'm going to read them all. And I probably
yeah.
won't believe a single one. That's great.
So yeah,
Can you
they'll defeat your self doubt though on that day. I'm sure they will.
it'll help. It'll have to
Yeah.
help. Can you
Yeah.
share a quick craft tip of any sort with us?
Yeah, I was thinking about this recently, and it was something that I've been dealing with lately in my writing. And I think that it's important to understand your hook, not just in the sense of a book, but also in the sense of your brand as an author.
Oh, interesting.
I
Tell me
was
about
I was
that.
think I was thinking about it like, for example, I write time travel stories. So for me, the book has to revolve around time travel. For me, I know that the people that pick up my books pick them up not just because there's action or it's a thriller. It's a lot of things. There's mystery. There's a lot of elements that go into these stories. However, the primary reason I believe they're there, from what they've told me, is because of the time travel. I do interesting things with time travel. So when I go to create a book, I have to find my hook. I have to find the fun time travel thing that's going to be different from all the other books that they've read. And this is going to be so like if my hero has to face off against a villain, he can't just go get a gun and shoot the villain. That's not an ending. That's not going to work for my stories. I have to find a way to do that in a clever time travel-y way because that's what people paid their ticket for. Like that's why they're reading my books. So I think that it helps when you're starting out with a book or with a series to try to understand what it is that you kind of want to be known for, what it is that people are going to be coming back to buy more books for. Like, don't. It's one thing to just write a thriller, just put in all the standard thriller tropes, but you have to add something new to the genre. You have to bring something that only you can bring, some twist, some added element. And then once you know what that is in your book, then you're just writing to that point. That should be the anchor of the story. And once you know that, it just makes your life a lot easier.
I love hearing that. That is so, so, so intelligent. And I think I've come across that in my own work just by trial and
Mm,
error and just by
mm,
like for my romances, people always say that they are comforting and because they read them because they are comforting. And that is definitely not
mm.
something I ever sought to do. I never thought to do it.
Yeah,
But when I do think about it, it's something that now I go for because those people want that.
yeah. It kind of relates. It's almost like a theme to your overall
Yeah.
writing style.
Yeah.
And it obviously the individual themes of your books can revolve around it, but if you have that core center line to your series, whatever, it makes it easier to frame books around it, I think.
That's a huge and helpful thought. Thank you very, very much for sharing that.
Well, I'm glad it's helped.
When you have self doubt or dark days, how do you handle that?
Thankfully, I don't have them too often, which
Yep.
is good. But
I
like I
can
said, I
tell that
typically
about you. I think you seem like a mostly positive, optimistic guy. Is that right?
I am a born optimist, yeah,
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
will always stay that way, I hope. But on days when I do have rough days, I definitely fall back on those reviews and the readers who have reached out and helped kind of prop me up. There's nothing more motivating for me than just going back to some old books I've written and then looking through some of the positive reviews and thinking, hey, this person right here just said that they're waiting for me to write the next book.
Oh,
So that I'm going to write for that person. Like even if there's a bunch of people who didn't like it, there's this person right here that wants it. So I'm going to keep writing just for them. And that's enough to keep me going.
that is remarkably healthy.
Yeah.
That might be the healthiest answer I've ever had to that question. Wow. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to try that. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to try it. What is the best book you've read recently, and why did you love it?
So lately I've been completely off topic with my book.
Good.
I was reading. I have this book on the side of my bed, and it's called The Friends of Eddie Coyle, and it's by George V. Higgins, and he wrote kind of like along like Dennis Lehane. I think loved
Uh-huh.
his book. It's easy from this. There was a movie in the '70s But it's I don't know if you've heard of Elmore Leonard
Of
or
course,
some of
yeah.
these. They're like okay,
Yeah, I
Elmore
love him.
Leonard in the similar vein,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's these sort of gritty crime novels. But the book is about it's got kind of a wandering plot. It's so far from what I write that it's fascinating to me. And I pick it up and I read the dialogue, and it's one of these things where it's this short, punchy dialogue. It's it doesn't waste a lot of time on description. It just you're immediately in these characters' world, and based on their speech, you know, like their dialogue is just so clear on the page that you get these characters, and it's beautiful, like in its own way. It's just this gritty crime drama that like the story even I don't even love the story. It's not a necessarily uplifting or heartwarming story. It's this character's kind of slow spiral into death, but it's like it's a wonderful, beautiful way of writing. And for me, I think that it's something that I admire. So I pick it back up to try to encourage myself to branch out and explore new ways of writing.
I like that. I've been doing that a little bit with Stephen King this year. I've never
Hmm.
been a Stephen King fan, but I find him similar to that in just the way that he doesn't have a lot of flowers. He's short
Yeah,
sentences, effective dialogue, and I think reading outside of our own comfortable
yeah,
spots can really, really
yeah.
help us.
Because there are some masters out there who just do things really well. And like even if it's completely different from what you do, you can learn from them and add little bits here and there. And then the next thing I want to write, one of the books I want to finish, is more along that vein. So I'm just trying to be inspired and branch out.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. And what would you like to plug right now? Tell us about your work a little bit.
Well, I'm just about to put out the fourth book of my time travel adventure series, the In Times Like These series.
Is this the fourth and final, or are you continuing?
It is. I had thought that it was going to be third and final when I wrote the third. So we have opened the door back up, and this is now book four. It's called The Warp Clock,
Oh, that's
and
a good
I
title.
hope, yeah, it's going to be out July 1st, I believe, somewhere around there. Don't
I
hold
saw
me to it.
it's up for a pre-order, right? Is that right?
It's not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not.
All right.
But it will be eventually. But yeah, so I'm not sure when this episode will air, but it'll come out
I think
sometime.
maybe this week. I'm a little bit behind. So,
Oh, all right. So yeah, if people want to learn more about my time travel adventure series, they can check that out. They can visit my website and
and your
Nathan.
website is nathanvancoops.com.
Yeah, my last name's two words. It's Vancoops, and I'm the only one there is, so I'm easy to find.
That is nice. Is it Dutch? What is that name?
It's fake Dutch. We have
I wasn't expecting that answer.
yeah, it sounds Dutch.
Yeah.
So Coops is actually Danish, but my grandfather's middle name was Van, and he wanted to differentiate himself from his father, who was also named Harold Van Coops. So he made us sound Dutch after that. So now Van Coops is from my grandfather down. There's not that many of us, and we stick out.
That's
As-
really helpful for search engine optimization, though.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
well done, Granddad.
exactly. Thank you, Grandpa, for making my life easier. I got all the email addresses I want.
Rachael Herron is pretty good, spelled my way, and I've also I
Yeah.
grabbed the normal spelling, and there is another Rachael Herron writer
Mm,
as well as the Rachel Aaron, and I feel bad for her sometimes. But,
yeah, that's true. But she's a great person too that could be associated with. I
oh,
think
the
it's not.
Rachel Aaron, yes, I love
Yeah,
her.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It has been such a delight to talk to you. What
Yeah,
a
it's been a lot of fun
pleasant
for me too.
afternoon I've had. So
Thank you so much.
thank you. Keep us posted with everything you're doing, and I'm going to talk to you soon.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds great.
bye, Nathan.
Have a great day.